the introduction to the Husia. All right.
Yep, I just got mine right here.
And there it is, the Husia. I think you were part of that group, Katabasi.
Yeah, one of the originals.
That went down.
First edition, first printing.
Yeah, that went down to Compton. No, yeah, Compton College.
Yeah, yep. Compton Southwest College. Yep, you were there. Bunch of us.
Yep. So, of course, it's written. Sorry, it's a little pixelated. It's written by Dr. Maulana Karenga. He always wears something like this. It's almost like his uniform, you know. Mm-hmm. See, here's another picture. He's got. He must have a closet full of these things. Yeah.
Yep, that's his style.
That's his style. Everybody has a style, and him. Here is, see, he's got the same shirt on. Here his wife, Tia Moyo.
Mm-hmm. Always had a great fro.
Yeah. So Maulana, I think that's Arabic. It means master teacher. Dr. Maulana Karenga, he's chairman of African Studies at Cal State Long Beach. He's author of the African American celebration known as Kwanzaa, which, okay, everybody on here knows that, I know. He's also the author of several books, including the Husia, the Book of the Coming Forth by Day, and the Odu Ifa. So now the Husia is divided up into, I got this thing in the way here for me. So it's divided up into 7 sections. A book of creation, a book of prayers and sacred praises. A lot of people read from that. Book of moral narrative. Wise instruction, contemplation. Books of contemplation, declaration of virtues, rising like Ra. And he has a nice kind of intro in each section, gives a good intro. So the book is called Husia, and it's taken from 2 Cometian or Kemetic words, which are actually Neteru. Western scholars call them gods. And Hu means authoritative utterance. And Sia, exceptional insight. So when you are thinking about Baba Jahi's wife, Sister Sia, that's what her name means, exceptional insight. And this is how you would write Hu in Medu Neter. Here, this glyph here, this twisted flax, which we're going to talk about a little later, is the H sound. And this quail chick is sometimes it represents a W, or sometimes it represents just a single U. And then this is how you would write it, kind of shorthand. And this is how, so that's Sia, just those 2 glyphs. And if you put, you know, like somebody behind it, you know, that's just giving it an emphasis. So Husia, Cometian spirituality identifies the abstractions personifying respectively creative mind. Minister Ahmadi, I'm sure you could relate to that, or authoritative utterance, and perception, or intelligence. They were all essential forces in creation and the continuance of the cosmos. Hu and Sia served as crew members on the solar bark of Ra. They were represented in as a bearded man, also served as beards of the eye of the god Hor, or Heru. Now, a lot of times we want to say Heru. It sounds good in English, but originally it was just Hor. But in English, that has a different connotation. And in some instances, it just meant the boy. So in the text known as Memphite theology, they are personified, Hu and Sia are personified as the tongue and heart of the Neter Ptah. They were also regarded as being two distinctive attributes of the Per'ah. Can anyone tell me when I say Per'ah what I mean?
Pharaoh.
Why is it Pharaoh?
The house of Pharaoh.
Okay, you're getting closer, getting warmer.
Marco Fire or something like that. The house of fire or light.
Okay, that's the Perneters, actually pyramid means fire in the middle. Sometimes it means house of fire. So when you say the Per'ah, you do say you mean the Pharaoh. Pharaoh, think about this, sisters and brothers. There was never a man named Pharaoh, and there was never a place called Egypt. We have so many references that were given, and we're not even given what they were called. So there was nobody called Pharaoh. It was Per-Ah. Per is house, Ah is great. And the Per-Ah is actually the female, because you could not become the king or the head of the house without marrying the royal wife. So they decided lineage matrilineally, not patrilineal. So the feminine, the female aspect had a lot of power even today. I mean, even in this patrilineal society, feminine aspects has a lot of power. The power behind the throne, etc. So Hu and Sia, sorry to get off on that. Hu and Sia are aspects of Ra. And here's Ra on his boat. Now, how many actually got a chance to see Dr. Ben in person when he was alive? I can't see you all, so I don't know. Anyone? Katabasi, you were there, I know, but who else?
I actually got to take my father to see him. So.
Oh, you did?
He was wonderful in my father's life. Yeah.
I saw him at least twice.
Who's that?
Yeah, and he came to Wosay several times.
Yeah. So this is a classic. This is how Dr. Ben looked. And here's some pictures of him. Throughout his life. So originally, the Husia was livicated. I don't like that word dedicated. It was livicated to Dr. Yosef Ben Yakinen. That's his name. Actually, he has a couple of initials in between Ben Yakinen. It's like Yosef Antonio something Ben Yakinen. So originally the Husia was livicated to Dr. Ben. Dr. Ben, as he was known, was a historian, professor, lecturer of African history. He lectured extensively throughout the country and around the world. I mean, he would go to Papua New Guinea. He led a lot of people to Kemet. I wasn't there, but I know in 1987, they had like 1,000 people go to Kemet. And I remember the Holmes family was part of that group, and some other people from Wosay were part of that group. I got a chance to travel there with him in 1981. Dr. Ben lectured extensively. He was recognized around the world. And one of the questions that he would posit to his audience was, "Where is your book?" Meaning, the so-called three major Western religions have their book. Where's the one for African people? You know, the Jews have the Torah, the Christians have the Bible, the Muslims have the Quran. Where is your book? Because he would give you all these facts, and he could keep you spellbound just listening to his lecture for 2 hours. And you would want more. And then then he would say, "Where is your book?" And so Dr. Karenga answered this challenge. So this is included in his first edition of the Husia. He says, "Hey, this book is, he said dedicated, but I'm using the word livicated to Dr. Joseph Ben Jekinen." But at some point, disagreement took place between the two scholars. Sometimes that happens. I know that you all that have been around know that this happens. And then Dr. Karenga livicated the Husia to another great African scholar and historian, Dr. Sheikh Anta Diop. And, I got a chance to hang out with Dr. Karenga and his wife, Tia Moyo. This is at the Gill Street Theater. We were on the stage. And, I wasn't really going to get up there. And his wife said, "Come up here." It's like, I was like a bodyguard. So I was prepared to take a bullet for Dr. Karenga that day. So fortunately, that was unnecessary. But I got a chance to talk to him. I was driving him and his wife around, and so I just picked his brain and asked him a lot of stuff, and he was very gracious. And he called me. He called me the next day after they got back, and thanked me. I found him very warm and engaging person. So that's why I asked him. I said, "Hey, why did you take Dr. Ben out?" And he said, "Well, Dr. Ben asked me to take him out, and so that's what I did." And so he livicated it to Dr. Sheikh Anta Diop, the great Senegalese. He had so many disciplines. He was over the radio carbon dating lab in Senegal. He was a linguist. He was historian. So many things. I believe there's a Sheikh Anta Diop University in Senegal.
It should be.
Yeah, I'm almost sure. So this is him. Just had a birthday not too long ago. And so, okay, here's what he was. It's all here. It's all falling out of the sky. He was a historian, an anthropologist, a physicist, a politician. He studied the human race origins and pre-colonial African culture. So we went from one great scholar to another great scholar, that the Husia is livicated to. Dr. Diop argued that there was a cultural unity across the continent. He taught this was more important than the varied development of different ethnic groups shown by differences among languages and cultures over time. So he actually wrote a book called The Cultural Unity of Black Africa. So now, as the title suggests, the book says selections from the Husia. So, there are so many Kemetic texts that one book would not be enough. There's volumes. There's so many texts. So he picked out some that he preferred, that came up a lot, and that's what we deal with. So when you are reading the Husia, sisters and brothers, the Husia is not the be all to end all. It's a springboard into other Kemetic or Commission texts. So now one of the things that the Husia does, it gives us the story before the story. See, February is coming up, and it's the shortest month in the year, and we're going to talk about, George Washington Carver, although he made a very valuable contribution to civilization and society. We're going to talk about, maybe we might mention Du Bois, maybe Malcolm will be mentioned, but our story goes back. It's the story before the story. So think about that. Pick up on that. The story before the story. So in the book of, I don't know what happened there. For some reason, now Kalahari has started sharing his screen. What happened? How did that happen? I'm going to have to stop it. Stop the, I don't know how that happened.
Yeah, because I actually got lost. You were breaking up and mine cut off and then cut back on by itself.
Now can everybody see that?
It could be the weather.
I can see you.
I can see you. Right. We don't see the screen sharing.
Nothing sharing, just your camera.
Nothing is sharing. My goodness. Okay. Let me go back here. What did you do, Kalahari? What are you doing, man? What's happening? Okay, let's try it again. Can you see that now? Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Now, where was I before I was so rudely interrupted? All right. That happens. It's Zoom. So the story before the story. And Gina, I'm hoping you can see this as well. So in the book, so he has the books of knowing of creation show the story before the creator. Now think about that. Africans were dealing with the story. They were dealing with creation before the creator. It deals with the concept of creation before humans, before Neteru or powers of heaven were created. Oh my, because it deals with this concept of noon or noon. These squiggly lines, just if you see a single one, that means the consonant N. So we are led to believe. I say that because we act like we have deciphered the Medu Neter, and in many respects we have, but there are so many layers to it, and there is like a meaning to it that, it's just a very plain, in your face view. And then there's like a hidden esoteric view of it. So, but we're dealing with this concept of noon, or noon. And so, so in the ancient Commission accounts, the original mound of land comes forth from the waters of noon. The noon is the source of all that appears in a differentiated world, encompassing all aspects of divine and earthly existence. In the Enad cosmology, noon is perceived as transcendent at the point of creation alongside Atum, the creator, God. So, any questions on that? I've said a mouthful there. Anyway, anybody want to tackle it? Let's pause for a moment. What do you think about that? Anyone?
I love the concept of noon.
I have said for years that the consciousness and the God thought, for lack of a better word, had to be there before anything else was. Because if it wasn't, then when the Most High came, he wouldn't have known what to do. So consciousness had to be there first. And I'm a Star Trek person,
Oh dear.
and I remember one of the series
Uh-huh.
where there's this murky, dark water, and this body raises out of it, and that to me is the creation story. It had to be consciousness before there was anything else, or
Okay.
some kind of intelligence.
Okay, I'm gonna come back to you, Minister. So I think Amadi, then Kalahari, and Asali, your hand is always up, so it throws me off. But go ahead, Amadi, and then Kalahari.
Oh, you heard my mind clicking, huh?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a interesting, I think, thought about the waters of noon. Water is a symbol for the spirit, but also for women, for a woman. And when a woman gives birth, her water breaks. And so I've always thought of the waters of noon as being really a feminine energy. Everything is born of woman. And if you looked up the Hebrew words for Holy Spirit, it's a feminine word. So just something to think about. Now I know that our ancestors connoted that Noon was a masculine, was a male, right? With the beard and all that.
Yeah.
However, I think that, and really looking at it from a natural perspective, and all male, and so every idea, that which projects like a seed is masculine. So the idea of the noon could be masculine, but its real essence to me is feminine. So I just wanted to share that, something for food for thought, food for thought. Everything is born of woman.
Okay, Kalahari, then Tyrone. Go ahead, Kalahari. Take yourself off mute. There you go.
Oh man.
This is kind of like a Star Trek episode. Which one is this?
Oh no.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There's some
Go
interesting
ahead.
stuff going on.
Go to the next person.
Okay, Ty, go
to
ahead,
the
man.
next person. I got a problem here.
Go ahead, Tyrone.
Okay, yeah, with me, I was thinking about along the lines of the Kabbalion, where all is mind. The universe is mental, and we exist in the mind of the all. When I think of noon as the unconscious, which is infinite. I spoke on this before. Like
Go to the next person.
We have our unconscious mind, and it seems to be a source of infinite ideas, infinite everything. Our unconscious mind seems to be infinite.
Go to the next person.
And I see noon as being like the infinite mind, the unconscious mind of the creator. So that's my spin on noon. It's being like the unconscious mind.
This is great. This is great. This actually, we're coming to there. I don't want to prolong it, but okay, I guess I'll call you later, Ngina, because I watched a lot of Star Trek, episodes and stuff. So the one that you're talking about Star Trek: The Next Generation, where they go to this planet and this big kind of like oil slick raises up out, and that's one of the most racist ones because on that particular one they say that all the beings on that planet, they left all their negativity, and that black oil slick is what was left. And then he's the one that ends up killing Tasha Yar, and so this big gigantic black figure comes up and kills this white one. So okay. You'd have to have seen it.
I don't even remember the whole thing, but when I see that, and when I shared that theory with someone from the science of mind, not Scientology, science of mind, they concurred. But Dr. Baba Hines refers to a lot of science of mind stuff that I really liked from him. And when I said consciousness had to be there first, they was like, yes, yes, yes. And
Yeah.
then what Tyrone was saying, maybe I have a book called The Power of the Subconscious Mind. And that's the one that we don't use. We deal with the conscious mind, but the subconscious mind is where the power is. The
Yeah.
subconscious mind.
Yes. You know, I'd like to recommend, this is a little bit off the subject, but since we're talking like this, and it's kind of free flowing, Neville Goddard. If you go on YouTube and type in Neville Goddard, he talks about that extensively. He has a book, and you know, Makalisi had recommended Reverend Ike. You know, he had posted Reverend Ike. Um, Bill, that's not your favorite episode. Um, uh, and so I ended up looking at Reverend Ike, and I started listening to him, and I was like, wow, I wish I had, you know, I think it was just the way he looked that kind of turned me off, and I didn't get into him. But if you listen to some of the things that Reverend Ike is saying, he's talking about putting it in, you know, seeing yourself doing it in the now. And Neville Goddard was a person that he respected and looked up to. And he didn't say that he was a mentor, but he said next to the Bible, Neville Goddard's book was his favorite.
Oh.
And when you research Neville Goddard, you find out that his mentor was this Ethiopian rabbi that he called. His name was Abdallah, and he referred to him as Ab. All right, I'm going to keep going. Hey, thanks for that little segue. We're going to go back. Excuse me, we're not going to go back. We're going to go forward and get back here. So I'm hoping that everyone can see this. Going to keep going on this. So the primordial ocean, before the world was formed, before what was said to have come into existence, there was something that the ancients along the Nile called the Noon. It was before the universe, the Neteru. It is a fluid ether. It is the generator of the Neteru and the rest of creation. The Noon is uncreated. Everything emerges from the Noon, including the creator, Neter. The creator, Neteru, emerges from the Noon. It is uncreated. It's a fluid, ethereal liquid, very opaque, dense, compact. It is the cause, the reason, the foundation, and the home of all subsequent becoming. This is how you write it in Medu Neter. These are two different ways to write it. This glyph here is actually the Noon. This loaf here is a T. And this glyph here is the sky. It's associated with the sky. And then this is also referred to the Noon. That's how you would write it. If you saw something like that. Now, this sometimes is Noon. But it also, if you notice, he has like female breasts. It's kind of androgynous. It's also the Happy or the Nile. So again, water. And here is the creator emerging out of the Noon to start creation. This, when you see this, this is something that we don't have time to get into. But this is a glyph. I mean, this is a whole message in and of itself. Noon rising out of the primordial waters. And here, this beetle, this dung beetle is Kepler, and that means bringing into being. Anyway. Who are the Neteru? And here are some. There are about 360 Neteru. here, just for grins. Usually you can tell it's a Neteru by what they're carrying. So they're usually carrying either the Waz staff or an Ankh. So this Neter with the plumes is Amun. This with the ibis head and the moon is Tahuti. This is his consort, Sheshet. This is Wasir or Asar or Osiris. This is Aset or Isis. This is Hor or Heru. The Greeks called it Horus. This is Set. This is Nephthys or Nebhet. This is Anpu. And this is Amet, the eater of the dead. You see Amet at the judgment scene if you don't weigh out, and he's really, you would hate to see him because he's part crocodile, lion, cheetah, hippopotamus. So good luck with that. This is aspect of the boat of Ra. Sorry, it didn't come out so clear, so I'm going to pass it. So this is what Dr. Obinga, who was a protege of Dr. Sheikati joked. He wrote a book called African Philosophy, and on page 541, he says, originally the word neter meant the awakening of higher consciousness within the primordial essence of noon, with created beings extending the creator's creation daily. So I'm going to stop there. See, this is Amadi and Ngina. This Dr. Obinga. I don't see Ngina anymore. But
I'm here.
Oh, there you are. Okay.
Yeah.
This is what Dr. Obinga is saying that the Neter are. It's the creation coming out of the noon, expressing the creator's creation on a daily basis. So normally we think of, the sun rising every day, rising and said that's creation. But also somebody in the mind, somebody thought to create this application called Zoom. In the mind, all of these things start in the mind. All of these things start in your thinking about it, and you're bringing it into being from the unmanifested state of noon. Actually, we're in the noon now. The noon is not something that's outside or way in the cosmos. We're in the noon right now. Right now. So the Husia contains the books of knowing of creation. Anybody want to add to that? Akanke, you're kind of quiet, birthday lady. You got anything you want to add, intelligent person?
No. I must confess.
Oh dear.
I had to go away for a minute. So no, I'll keep listening.
Well, this will go hard on you at the inquest. So all right. I'm going to keep going. I'm not sure if this is interesting to people, but I'm going to press on. Okay, Kalahari, you ready to? You were going to say something later.
It's very interesting.
You wanna go, brother? Unmute yourself. Maybe there won't be a feedback because you had something to say. Okay, that means no. All right. Okay, I'm gonna go back. Let me check.
No, I can say something.
Yes.
This is Asali. Sorry, not too presentable right now.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Asali.
No, I just thought that was pretty cool to even think that we're still in the new right now. So I just imagine like we're continuing to manifest. So we have to start somewhere. and now we're continuing. It's just how I could just imagining, like, if everybody understood how divine they were, all the amazing things we could continue to manifest, and especially, you know, with uniting, we could manifest amazing, you know, a peaceful world. So I think that's pretty cool.
You know what? You okay, we can stop now.
Right
She's
there. Yeah.
she's grasped, she's capitalized the whole thing.
Mhm.
That's exactly the point. So I see here here that we got the correct spelling of Neville Goddard's name for Bobby. And Minister Amadi is talking to you, Sister Ngina. He says, yes, Sister Ngina, I was ordained as a science of mind minister prior to coming into
Yes.
awareness of my African self. I found out that metaphysical teachings can be traced back to the Shabaka text in ancient Kemet, the oldest recorded document about the power of the created word. So it's just all related, sir. Thank you for capsulizing that. I'm going to move on. I'm going to keep going. Not that I like to hear myself talk, because really I don't. But I'm going to keep going. All right. Okay. I think, where was I? I'm going to skip around. So we mentioned, let's see. I think we're here.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yes, this is where we were. So he said that the word netter meant the awakening of higher consciousness within the primordial essence of noon, with created beings extending the creator's creation. This is what Isali said. This is what is taught in science of mind. This is what Neville Goddard is speaking about. This is what his mentor Abdullah was talking. This is what Reverend Ike was talking about. All right, let's see, keep going. As the sun is ceaselessly born and reborn from its own energy, this is a philosophy that exalts life in the name of cosmic order. So that was a quote by Dr. Theophia Obenga. So I had a discussion with one of us that are in the Zoom, and you know, we were talking about God and Netter and all of these different things. You know, God has 1,000 names, you know, because we in the conscious mind can only comprehend God from a certain point of view. We're kind of like the 5 blind men describing an elephant, and each person is describing the elephant from their point of view. So one's at the tail, so he thinks it's a rope. One's at the ear, he thinks an elephant is a fan. Another, you know, is at his feet, so he thinks it's like a stump. That's why we have all these names. So originally, the word netter meant the awakening of higher consciousness within the primordial essence. The image of God who reveals himself in the noon for the purpose of acting, doing, creating, guiding humanity and the entire world. Created beings extended the creator's creation daily. And that's what you're doing. Mama Ngina, she has in her mind a beautiful retouching of the building on Holly Street. And so she's bringing her idea to bring that into being from the unmanifested stuff. She's not just leaving it in her mind, but she's bringing it forth so that it could be consciously witnessed and expressed. That's what Minister Calhoun and Minister Makalisi did 40 years ago when they had the concept of Wose. You know, it was an idea that they brought out of the noon into the manifest state. Hold on, somebody just sent me a text. They're saying that they're having a hard time getting into the text. I'm gonna text them. Let's see here. Let me speed up a little. Don't have to do all that. I'm just going to go right to the Shabaka stone. Let you peer at it for a little bit. So when we talk about the Shabaka stone, this is it. Let me let this brother know how he can get in. He's you guys remember Richard Lundy back in the day?
Yes.
Yeah, I remember
Yes,
Richard.
I do.
Yeah, he's trying to get in. So
Huh.
Wow.
Well, let him in.
I'm trying to steer him on how to do it. Go to Wose Sac. Click
Yeah, that's Mama Okanana's buddy.
join the service. Yeah, Richard used to work at Children's Hospital. Yeah, join the service, and I'll give him the password, and hopefully he can get in. All right, so this is the Shabaka stone. Now, you know, just looking at it, you just think, well, what's that? You know, but here, if you get up close, I don't know if you can see, you know, you can see the writing on here. You see that?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody see that? Okay. Yeah. And then, okay, someone took a piece of paper and a pencil, and they rubbed across it, and this is what you're able to see. So if you got up on the Shabaka stone, this is what's there. Does anybody know the story of how it came into being? How it came about? Anybody?
Yeah, I can't remember now.
Okay.
Shabaka stone.
We're talking about.
See, this is how it looks, and you know, there's different columns. You know, and here, when you see these three, like axes, or sometimes they appear like flags. Let me back up. So this is how you would write netter. It's plural. I skipped a lot. Okay, so this is how you would say netter, plural.
Mm-hmm.
And here it is. When you see this like basket turned upside down, I mean turned up like this is Neb. This is Lord of the Neteru. That's what this is saying. And so now this Jewish brother by the name of Stephen Mailer wrote a book called From Light to Darkness, and he also wrote a book on Osiris. I'm trying to think the exact title. I'm sorry, it's escaping me. But in his book, he is showing how the Hebrew letters correspond to the netter. He put this in his book. The Temple of Isis at Philae, the Comitian glyph Neteru, the triple netter, the netter of netters. The triple netter was utilized in the Hebrew letter Shin, a letter representing El Shaddai. Somebody mentioned the Kabbalah. You know, so it's a Kabbalistic name for God. So they took some things with them when they left Kemet. Okay. So I think this is important. So you know, in Acts 7:22 it says everything Moses learned, he learned from the Egyptians. Well, this is one of the things. So Shabaka stone, there we are. It's 6:02. You guys tired? Want to stop?
How large is this?
Go ahead.
Oh, somebody had a question. Hold on, let me stop here.
How large is the Shabaka stone? Is it like 12 inches, 20?
You know, that's a good question. It is, you know, when I see pictures of it, I think it's in the British Museum. When I see pictures of it, it looks it looks pretty substantial. And so the question I was raising was, you know, how did it come about? So really, this stone goes back to prehistoric times. But when this Per'ah was part of the Nubian Renaissance, Shabaka saw it. It was in ruins. And so he said, you know what? This is something from my ancestors from the ancient times. This needs to be restored. And he has a very interesting headdress. He has the double cobra on his headdress. So this is actually a statue of Shabaka. That's a good question, Debbie. I'm not sure the exact.
Imhotep, so does that say per Shabaka, that's the great house?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So when, at the time of Shabaka, so you know, his predecessor was Pianki, and then his descendant was Taharqua. Those are the main ones of this Nubian Renaissance in the 25th dynastic period, and it's taken from an older work that goes back conservatively. It goes back much farther than this. I'm talking like maybe 50,000 BC, but conservatively 4100 BC. And that's the Shabaka stone. Oldest writings of creation refers to an aspect of creation called Ptah. So we're going to talk about Ptah. This is Ptah. Here he is again. And here he is again. So you can see Ptah's name written right here. P-T-H. P-T-H. And he's usually carrying this Jed and Was combination staff. Somebody needs to mute themselves. This is how, again, this is how you write his name. P-T-H. There are no consonants, there are no vowels. And people kind of listen to the Coptic language. There are people living today that speak the Suf language or the Medu-Neter language, Nubian, part of the Nubian language. There are people still living today that speak this language. And so people come by, you know, and, you know, the so-called Egyptologists. And so that's where they get the idea to put the vowels in.
Imhotep, isn't that H often sometimes written with a different glyph? The letter H?
There is an H that's written with a different glyph, but not in the case of how Ptah is written. Good question. And now when you compare, you know, that H, since you mentioned it, are you looking ahead, Katabasi? Is that what you're doing? You see how it looks like the DNA symbol. You know, and Ptah means self-created. You know, there are wheels within wheels. There's symbolism that our ancestors were using that only now in the 20th and 21st century are people beginning to understand what they saw, what they knew.
Mm-hmm.
So it strongly resembles the DNA structure.
Sure does.
And when you, here's Ptah with his consort Sekhmet.
Ah.
And Ptah and Wasir strongly resemble the Oscar.
Mm-hmm.
You know, nothing is sacred. You know,
Now, I'm wondering if that's where, in part, where Osiris got his dress from Ptah. I believe Ptah preceded Sar,
yes,
but they
yes,
have this fitted dress that
yes,
is very kind of unique to them. I think Seeker also wears the fitted dress,
yes,
but always Ptah and Asar.
yes, yes. And really, they're talking about the same being. You just think about, you know, okay, that the Nile is 4,100 miles long, and there's Perba or temples all along the Nile. And so in one place it's Wasir, in another place it's Ptah, in another place it's Keper, in another place it's Aset, in another place it's Amen. You know, but these are talking about they're trying to concretize these spiritually profound things so that human beings can understand them. So that's so this. So Ptah. Now this is something I find interesting. This is a little tangent that I'm going on. So Ptah, Jupiter, and Saint Peter. So in the Vatican, there's this statue, this coal black statue of Jupiter, which after the Christian era, they just simply changed it to Saint Peter. People come, you know, it's been there for centuries. People come there and kiss the feet of Jupiter, thinking it's Peter. And here they are.
Yep.
Now, what do they say? What is Peter? What does Peter mean? Anyone? Come on, don't be shy.
Isn't it rock
Say again.
Black.
or stone?
So, what did they say? What did Jesus tell Peter? He said, "Upon this rock, I will build my church."
Yep.
So here, I like this picture. It's a good. I think it's a good illustration of the Memphite theology. So here you have at the bottom the primordial oceans of Noon, and then Ptah forms a hill, rises out of the Noon, and then Atum comes out of the Noon, sits on top of Ptah, and projects things from his body that issue creation into being. So Ptah is the hill or the rock. Ju-Ptah. Upon this rock, I shall build my church. So here's an illustration of how Atum projects. At one point, he projects hidden and its opposite, boundlessness and its opposite, infinity and its opposite, and something else. I always miss one. And then, so those are referred to in Stolen Legacy as the gods of chaos. And then in part 2, he talks about the gods of order, which are Osiris or Wasir, Aset or Isis, Set, Nebhet, Horus or Hor. Geb is earth, Nut is sky, Shu is air, Tefnut is moisture. And so this is the journey of the soul. I know it's profound. You got to come to the class. All right. So here, Atum is also associated with the atom. And this is what Dr. George Jim James says in Stolen Legacy. All right, nobody's, I can hear you breathing out there. So, all right. Ta again.
I did have a question.
Yes, please.
Um, so excuse my ignorance about this, but on the when I saw what Ptah was holding, it made me think about what's on the sash for Wose.
Yeah.
Is that what exactly is that? I've been meaning to ask. I know the unc's on there.
Oh, that's a good question. So what that is, so what he's holding, let's go back here. Yeah. Let me not go through the whole thing, but all right. So let's pick that one. So Ptah is holding a combination of the Waz staff and the Jed. The Jed represents the backbone. It represents the backbone of Wasir. And it means stability. And the Waz staff, it means authority. And on our sashes, so what Wose means, this is coming from Dr. Chancellor Williams. He says that Wose means, or Wose or Waset. I have to tell you that most people say Waset, and Dr. Williams called it Wose, and that's why our name is like that. But he says that Waset means scepter or seat of authority. And so the glyph for Wose or Waset is this Waz staff with an ostrich feather on top. So that's what you're seeing when you look at the at our sash. Did I answer the question?
Yeah, so it almost looked like it was upside down, but it symbolizes authority and
Yes, it means scepter or seat of authority. So again, let me go back here because I pointed this out earlier. See all these Neteru, all these supra human beings, if you will, the way you can tell that they are Neteru, they're all holding that authority.
right.
They're all holding it, except in this case, Sheshet, she's measuring. I guess you can't hold two things at once, but just about everyone is holding this symbol.
Now the wasp that appears on the scroll is an animated version, so it looks a little different from
The wasp
the-
so
Okay.
it was the best way that they could do it, and make it in kind of like that print. So it has the wasp staff and an ostrich feather at the top.
Oh, okay. Okay.
That's the way it looks. Okay, I'm gonna go back here. We're gonna close out. Thank you for your patience and good questions and good observations, everyone. Sometimes Ptah is referred to as Lord of the Blue, and he'll have now this is coming from King Tut's tomb. He'll have a blue cap on, or sometimes he's painted blue. In this case, he's painted green, but we always know it's Ptah. He's always kind of mummified. It's kind of representing, the human spirit encased in a body. We're not as free as we would be in the spiritual realm. in this body, we are, not as free as we would just as a spirit. And so that's what Katabasi, that's what Wasir and Sokur and Ptah represents. That we need to, when the spirit descends into flesh, it has certain limitations. That's actually what they're talking about in the story of Samson and Delilah. Because Samson represents the sun. And when the sun goes into matter, its power is shorn. It's not as strong as it would be before it entered the physical.
Right.
So
right.
I'm hoping I'm making sense.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So here again, so in that staff representing stability. Here's is maybe a little bit better illustration. And notice these rings. Our people still wear this in South Africa and in various other parts of Africa.
The royal color. Mm-hmm.
So the ancient Kemetic people view creation as a continuous process. Creation is repeated each day in nature and in human history. And these writings predate Hebrew, Christian, and Muslim texts by millennia. Ashe.
She indeed.
Ah, Shay.
Yes. Thank you, Minister. Very good.
So that's the way it is. So for those of you that can remember, Walter Crump. All right. Any questions? Any comments? We don't have the schedule out for next week, and so maybe Sister Tiara will be able to join us next week. But right now we don't have a schedule. Huh? Oh, that person isn't talking to me.
Oh. Early Sister Ngina was talking about consciousness in Nu. I had read where that spirit, that there was a spirit in Nu, even before Ptah moved up to create the hill. And I've read where the creator laid the creation out in Ma'at. So Ma'at was there, present then. So that I think the spirit that we're referring to in Nun was probably Ma'at.
Let me just share something here that I didn't really talk about, but I think it is illustrated in this picture. Let's see. See, Ptah is standing on Ma'at. He's standing on the glyph of Ma'at. And in one of the passages, it says, I found no place on which to stand. I laid the foundation through Ma'at.
Right. Yeah, that's the question.
Yeah.
The book of coming of creations, right?
Yes. Yes.
I just read that this morning.
See, that was the reason why. So that
it was leading you.
Yep.
Nice.
All right.
Yeah, it's nice that a lot of this stuff is starting to come together after all these years, and it's very satisfying. It's very pleasing because I remember on embarking on this, so much of it, it was really fun, but over the years, many of the pieces have come together, and so I have a lot more clarity around that now.
Also, Brother Katabasi, that the chapter 8 in Stolen Legacy explains a lot of it as well. Chapter 8 in Stolen Legacy. Yeah. Any comments at 6:22? We don't have to go all the way to 6:30. We could leave early if you want. Connie, you got anything that you would like to say? Good to see you this evening.
No, just wished I had been here earlier. That's all I missed. So
yeah, well, we're glad you're here now. So that's
blessing,
good.
blessing. Thank you.
All right. Kalahari, I see you on here twice. I see your name twice. I see your image. So maybe that's where the feedback came in. Sometimes if you have it on twice, I know even if I have one device muted, I have to take it in another room.
We should then engage our own discussion now. I think they're closing out. So, are there questions here and now? Comments?
I wanted, go ahead, Mama.
I see Sebastian has his hand raised.
I want to thank Brother Youssef and Mama Doris for this presentation. This was very spiritual. Mama Doris shared with us some time back that this was Minister Imhotep's life's work, and that he put this stuff together in this form to leave for us. And this presentation was the display of exactly what he meant to have happen. And the thought of you guys to put this one together tonight. Thank you.
Well, if I could say, this is Brother Youssef. I did not have a role in putting this together, so I want to thank Mama Doris as well, and just talk about just how powerful this was for me on so many levels, and again, just Asante Sana for this presentation.
Mama Zarita.
Yes, Ashe, this presentation just is a confirmation of what I have been studying. I have been picking up the works of Seva Dr. Theophilo Banga, and what he says about noon is so sacred. He says, the beginning of all beginnings was noon. This was the name given to the primordial absolute mass of water, container of all seed, home to all creative potential. This was a sort of all-encompassing ocean, existing before any form of life known to us. It predated all motion as we understand it. It was a reality before the universe we know, already pregnant with the raw material of creation in latent state. And he goes on, this is page 45, and you can go on to page 46 of African Philosophy. It was such a blessing to see and hear, and such a confirmation for me to see and hear Minister Imhotep speak on this. Ashe.
This is really, this as they say, the spirit works in mysterious ways, and you do things, and you're guided, and you don't know which way you should go. You think, I think I have this feeling of Sister Saraswati said, we were like, look at the schedule, and she said, since we've been talking about the holy books, why don't we replay this one? And I reached out to Minister Alicia. I said, what do you think? And, she said, yeah. And I said, okay, that's what we'll do. And just hearing, and I wasn't sure how I would be able to handle it, but it just gave me joy, because what he wanted to do, or what how God would use him, we can see it. And then even the feedback and the comments from Mama and Gina, and as we study, because it's like, yeah, and he would lay out in the pictures, and then it connected into the other stuff. So, Mama Keisha, your hand is raised.
I just wanted to say how grateful we and fortunate we are to have this lesson over and over again. This doesn't have to be the only time this is presented to our people. And yeah, the thought of having two people who became ancestors this year speaking to us tonight is very special and very blessed.
What's ironic also is when Mama Ngina was committed to the ground, she's right across the street from where Imhotep is. And when we were out there for her, I said, "Oh, we're gonna be in the same neighborhood." And
they're on
yeah,
the same video.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Brother Damani, did you have any questions or comments?
Yes, it's great immense tips for us. And I was also wondering how you make it through this, Mama Doris. Anyway, you're strong. I'd just like to mention Brother Kaba Hawadi Kameni's book, Spirituality Before Religion. He talks a lot about Shabakistan and stuff. Mr. Imhotep went over in detail. Yeah, this is a dynamite book, Spirituality Before Religion. Yeah, that was about it. And brother Baba Kameni's book, he explains the noon as the waters and the mountain rides out of the hill he refers to as Ptah. He talks about creation that's starting off with a one cell. You know, we're a multi-cell, we have trillions of cells, but he starts off with one cell in the water. And then land forms, mountain forms, Ptah forms out of the water. I think they refer to it as Mount Kilimanjaro, and that's the area where human life started. I just thought it's all creation, but it makes me want to pick up this book this evening, Spirituality, Religion, and get Dr. Khamenei's other book, the Shabaka Stone. He wrote a book on the Shabaka Stone, so
yeah.
So it was an excellent presentation. And I finally understood the Watts said. He explained all the Netarus is holding the what do you call that? The Watts, and at the top of it, it represent a little that represented what said he said.
It said, and then the ostrich feather also.
And that represented what said?
Yes.
Oh, that's
Seat
interesting.
of authority.
Okay.
Seat of authority.
Okay.
Yeah.
Seat of authority. What said? Right, I got it. Okay.
It's here, and is it the limits of knowledge have never been known? You know, so that we have to constantly study, and each time we go back, we're like, yeah, it just opens up even more. So, you know, we just see the brightness of the sun. So I just want to thank everybody for logging in. Thank you for the patience of us getting started. We're like, who's got the button? And I guess we didn't tell Minister Bill that that we're expecting him to bring it forward, but he did. God used him and his skills, and they were right on. And so the women of Wose will be taking over. And next week, we had not planned a class, but if the Spirit gives us direction in regard to maybe a replay or someone else, we will put that out. I was looking on his iPad to see whether I can find his presentation on Misgiving Day. He would always do one on Thanksgiving or Misgiving. And so I might try to pull that one up. Damani, you had something else?
Oh yes, real fast. Do y'all remember there's 139, 138 as you go into the temple of Aphetset? or the temple of Osiris. That is 5 temples at that complex. They call it the Karnak temple now. But those pillars, there's 138 pillars, and they represent the waters of creation. Those 138 pillars. So when you walk into it set, what I'm finding out, you go through those. Our ancestors was like creating the papyrus reeds, the waters of creation.
Yeah.
I just thought that was very interesting.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's about it.
And just a note, Anthony Browder is doing 2 tours to Kemet in 2026. One is in July and one is in December. Actually, 2 members of WOSE Sacramento are planning on going. So if you can scrape your Bitcoins or whatever else together at nickels and quarters and everything else to do that trip, that would be a key one because it will be the last ones that he will be doing. And so Minister in training, or Sister Mariana, she is going, and Sister Isata as well. They plan on going on the trip in July. So it'd be good if we can get, maybe 10, we'll say, people to go, because that experience, the collective experience, is even magnified more. And and I think it would be further blessing, so yeah. So peace be with you. May the spirit and light be upon you. May the light shine through you. May you be the shining light. Thank you, WOSE, and thank you. Like I said, I wasn't sure how I was going to take this, but it went well. And that being said, Minister Bill, like always, Misgiving Day, he knows that link, and so we can log on next week for the replay of Misgiving Day. And we appreciate you. And actually, we have more people this time than when it originally played. So that's right there. I think it showed that maybe there were like 12 people originally. And I think we had as many as 21 today. So the knowledge, that's what we have to keep it going. So we're about going to turn it over to the women and turn the recording off. And peace be with you. May the power of Ma'at continue to lift you.
Ashe.
Ashe.